Hi everyone, I'm Derek Smith, and welcome to your Career Connections Moment. Welcome to the next part in our series on interviews that you could potentially be facing. Now, in our last session, we looked at the stress interview in which employers might do some form of testing. And that interview was really designed to look at your technical ability. Can you do what you say you can do? Well, in today's session, we're looking at the interviews that say, who are you? Who are you as a person? Welcome to the behavioral interview. Now, just like the stress interview, the behavioral interview might be an interview all by itself, or an interview included within a formal style interview. So why do employers have you do this? So in this session, we've been looking at interviews from two perspectives. Why do employers do these types of interviews, and how do you succeed? So why does an employer do a behavioral style interview? Well, one thing that would be very interesting is if you could look at the resumes of your competition of who else is being interviewed. What you might notice is that on a technical level, there will be a lot of similarities between you and them. Hence why you got the interview. So with today's labor market, employers aren't able to make decisions purely on technical ability these days because so many people are well trained and well educated. So the behavioral interview is designed to find out who you are as a person. If you have a lot of individuals who might be similarly qualified, well, whom do you pick? Well, I guess the person you like. Well, how do you figure out you like them? Get to know them. So behavioral style interviews are designed to understand your behavior. They might have questions such as, give me an example of communication skills, or tell me about a time you demonstrated leadership or teamwork, or very specific situations. If you had a difficult customer, how would you handle them? These types of questions are designed to really bring out in you the kind of person you are, of how you handled things before in the past, and how you might handle them in the future. They might even have you do some kind of acting or an actual scenario where you're playing off maybe an interviewer or another interviewee. So how do you succeed? One of the ways to really be successful in this type of interview is to know your stories. You see, stories are very connective. They're very unique. Your stories can't be shared with anybody else because your stories are you. No one else has your stories. So one of the ways you can succeed at this interview is to tell your stories. When they say, give us an example of leadership, you give them a story about leadership. I prefer what's called the STAR method, standing for situation, task, action, and result, in which you simply share your story using this framework, giving a specific example, and finishing off with how things ended on a positive level. I recommend when going to an interview, have between 5 to 7 stories prepared to share with the employer. Why so many? Well, you will be asked more than one of these types of questions. So it's good to have a lot of good stories to cover a lot of good areas. Want to find out more about interviews? Want to make sure you're in the right career? How do you connect properly with employers? Want to make sure your resume is looking as good as it could possibly be? Why not come and take a look at To Be Determined? Because the future is still to be determined, so be determined. Until next time.